So before dive into OutSystem architecture, who is Shah Habibi?
Shah Habibi, my full name is Shah Ahmed Habibullah. But since I started my career in the kingdom back in 1998.
Yeah, 1998.
Then, I came on December 10th, 1997. And since then, when I started my career, somehow they used to call me like Shah Habibi. Architecture is driven by business.
Okay. Yeah. Driven by?
Business.
Business.
Yes. Business.
What does it mean? It starts from the business?
Yeah. When you're thinking architecture, you have to always like keep asking what, why, how. The more you ask as an architect questions, the more you get like better
more details.
Visibility into what exactly need to be done.
Okay, so if we will take a use case that the business is ready, we have a document like TDD or technical document, and it's sent to you. You started to set the architecture. You asked the question why, how, and what. So what is next?
Great. I have seen software architecting for other software, like traditional way of development and all of that. They really made it complex. Really, you have to go into books and videos and things to learn about how to do architecture. Now, with OutSystems as a low-code, their architecture documentation, I would say, their way of the process, architecture design process itself, they have really simplified it. In the foundation layer, in the core service layer, you can have side references.
Great.
But you shouldn't have something called as cyclic references.
And what does it mean?
That means give me your hand.
Yes.
And so we are now like giving tech
in a cycle.
In a cycle.
Yeah. Okay, let's say you already set the architecture, you validated it, it's correct. How you monitor the developers to ensure that they will keep following the architecture without any violation?
The toughest part, I would say.
Keep hunting them.
Keep hunting them, especially if you have a large team.
How does OutSystems handle microservices?
Okay. Microservices.
Very generic question, but
when you talk about microservices, I would say OutSystem. OutSystem has got.
Does it support it?
2 versions. And which one? In
OutSystem 11.
OutSystem 11. Or you talking about
OutSystem 11.
Yeah, OutSystem 11. No, I'd say it's like semi-microservice.
Partial.
Exactly.
How?
It's always good to spread knowledge. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you. You have to make pay zakah for that.
Yes,
shouldn't be
of course,
in terms of money or.
That's also for the information, the ilm you have.
The ilm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, yes, pass it to others.
هلا والله، أنا عبد الرحمن جابر وده بودكاست OutSystems بالعربي. بنتكلم فيه عن كل ما يخص اللو كود وOutSystems من 2 perspectives. تكنيكال وبزنس برسبكتيف. الحلقه النهارده هي بيور تكنيكال موجهه لاوتسيستم ديفلوبرز. هنتكلم عن اوتسيستم اركتكتشر وهنكفر من اول ليه الاركتكتشر مهم وليه لازم نفولو سبيسيفيك جايد لاين لحد اما نعمل فاليديشن ونسلم الاركتكتشر. مرورا بقى بازاي بنعمل له كرييت وايه الكومن ايشوز اللي بتطلع وكومباريزن كده ما بين اوتسيستم اركتكتشر وباقي الاركتكتشرز. الحلقة النهاردة فيها حاجتين جداد. أول حاجة إن هي مش هتبقى بالعربي للأسف، بس أكيد هنحط ترجمة. والتاني حاجة هو ضيف النهاردة، أنا اشتغلت معاه شخصيا واتعلمت واستفدت منه كتير الصراحة. شاه حبيبي. ازيك يا شاه؟
مرحبا.
ايه الأخبار؟ عامل ايه؟
إن شاء الله.
أشكرك مبدئيا على وقتك.
شكرا لك كمان.
يعني إنك وافقت تكون موجود معنا النهاردة وفضيت من وقتك كتير الصراحة، سواء في التصوير أو في التجهيز والكلام اللي قبل الحلقة كله.
لا شكرا لك الاستضافة هذه كمان. وشكرا انك جيت السعودية
حبيبي. احنا في الرياض النهارده. الله يخليك. يعني so I know that you understand Arabic but you will feel more free and comfort in English, so our conversation today will be conducted in English.
يعني أنا بتكلم عربي.
ايوه.
أفهم عربي كويس. It's okay.
اوكي خلاص. So before dive into OutSystem architecture, who is Shah Habibi? We would love to hear more from your experience, your background, how you entered software industry and OutSystem market.
Thank you, Abdurrahman, for all of this. And it's good to see you after a long time.
Yeah.
Of course, we work together. You know me. Maybe your audience, they don't know me.
They will now.
They will know. From Shah Habibi. My full name is Shah Ahmed Habibullah. But since I started my career in the kingdom back in 1998. Since then,
1998.
I came on December 10th, 1997. And since then, when I started my career, somehow they used to call me like Shah Habibi.
Very unique name.
Yeah, okay. They started calling me Shah Habibi, and I started my career back in Saudi here, like in 1998, and that was like after graduation. My initial field was programming. I started Java.
Java
I
program.
learned Java, and then I did something in Fox Pro. I don't know if you know about Fox Pro or not.
No.
It was a very old language.
I
at
born
that
in
time, maybe.
1996, by the way.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah, just after you were born, after 2 years, I came to Saudi. When I came to Saudi, I landed in a job that was related to Oracle.
Oracle,
Yeah,
it was
so
famous at this time.
Yeah, famous at
Yeah,
that
very
time,
famous.
very famous, and it was Oracle database related. And since then, I worked for Oracle, not for Oracle as a company, for the product itself for almost like till 2016. Yeah, it was
15 years?
2016,
16
almost
years?
More than that, I would say 10 years, yes.
MashaAllah.
During this period.
As an Oracle.
Yeah, as an Oracle. I started as a database administrator, and then I went through different Oracle products. You know, Oracle as a company, they have many products.
Yes.
It's not only just database. And then for a few years, 2016 to 2019, I worked some time as a freelancing and did architecture. I started early, even while I was with Oracle or with Oracle products. I started the architecture part to be just focusing on Oracle
Solution
domain.
architect.
Yeah, Oracle domain. So whether it was Oracle database or middleware or e-business, and after Oracle acquired like
diversity.
It was diversified. Then in 2019, end of 2019, that's where
You started your journey with OutSystems.
I started my journey. I started early actually. In 2018, I had my first session.
How you entered?
Some of my colleagues, they told me that there's a product it's very good for development.
Potential.
You can do like a rapid application development. And they had OutSystems, they usually have this event called Jumpstart.
Yes, Jumpstart are for beginners. Yes.
So Hisham Baraniya, if you know him,
Yeah.
from OutSystems, he was the instructor.
I met him today in the summit.
Really?
Summit, yeah.
And so he was the instructor at that time, and I registered for it and went.
2018.
2018.
2018.
Yes. Yeah. When we started the session, it was me, total of 5-6 people, including Hisham himself. So
here in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Great.
At that time, the OutSystems community was too small, I think.
Yes, exactly. 2018 it was.
Then that was my only one day. So, Jumpstart is only one day, so it starts
just
like
put you on
9 a.m.
the route.
Exactly. It just tells you what the product is, and you do like a small
and
workshop.
then enjoy.
Exactly. And then you go and take care of the development yourself.
Okay.
So that one day, and then for a year, I didn't do anything about that system. I didn't practice anything.
You just got the idea and khalas,
True.
This is enough.
End of 2019, we had like a company. I joined a company that they wanted. They were like software house, and they were developing company, software development company. That's where we signed a contract actually with one of the companies outside the kingdom to develop a mobile application.
Okay.
And
It's not OutSystem application.
it wasn't OutSystem. OutSystem wasn't in the picture at all. Once we signed the contract, after like a week, the company that we signed the contract with, they sent an apology letter. Emails said we cannot do this. The scope is very big, and
hopefully it's not an Egyptian company.
No, it wasn't.
No, right?
It was an Indian company.
Yeah.
It was an Indian company. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was in Turkey at that time, and I came back. The management called me and they said, "Okay, what do we do now?" I said, "Okay, there's something called OutSystem." After
you recommended
thinking
it.
about it, yeah.
Cool.
I think there's something called OutSystem. Okay, we might use that tool, and we just need to enable our team, and we can develop it ourselves. And he said, "Okay, go ahead."
Contact
It
them.
took that brave decision at that time. And that's it.
You contacted them?
I contacted OutSystem. At that time
Great.
it was Khaled Tawfiq.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was in contact.
It was an
with
easy
him.
deal.
An easy deal, exactly. That's his area and expertise.
Hi, good morning. I need to buy the license.
It was something like that because we were in a hurry. We were almost already late with the project. So, and then things went very quickly. End of January, by mid-January, we arranged like a training from OutSystem within the OutSystem office in Dubai.
In Dubai, yes.
Yeah, and we went there for training. And that's why I took a week training in reactive. That was almost the beginning of reactive.
2018.
19.
19.
Yes, in 2020.
2020.
2020, yes, January 2020. Then I took a week training in reactive, OutSystem reactive applications, and then another week in mobile application development.
2 weeks.
2 weeks of training.
You and the whole team, or only you?
Yeah, it was like 3 people from both sides.
3 team members.
Like 3 team members. We went and took the training together.
Cool.
And the moment that's where the COVID.
The COVID started 2020. Yes.
Yes, exactly at that time.
So you went back to Saudi Arabia for the COVID.
I was lucky.
Surprise.
I was lucky that I could come back to the kingdom because just after we came back, the borders were closed.
The lockdown.
And the lockdown started,
Yes,
and it was like wasn't like full lockdown, but partial lockdown.
So we can say the actual start with OutSystem was in 2020 or 2019?
Yeah, it's 2019. You can say exactly.
Cool.
That was
Okay, so if we can move to the first question, it is a very fundamental question. Why is architecture so important in software development, and why it's necessary to follow a specific architecture guideline?
Okay, that's a good question. I think architecture is very important for many reasons. One of the main, or few of the main reasons that you will always need to know and to do is to, as you know, with tools like OutSystem, when you start development, it's a rapid application development tool, so you develop quickly. The moment you start developing, it's like within few months, or you will have a big portfolio for application.
Yes.
Now,
too many applications.
Too
and
many
modules.
applications and modules and integrations and everything around development. Once the portfolio increases, you will need to manage it properly, to make sure
To maintain the
exactly
application.
the application
Ah.
that you developed is maintainable,
Yes.
and that's one thing. And the application that you develop is scalable as well. You can scale
For the future.
for the future as well.
Yeah.
When you think from that perspective, so you have to think like your vision should be very far.
Mm.
You should think, okay, after a year or after 2 years, I'll have like maybe hundreds of applications.
It's not only about the current documentation or the current requirement.
True.
You have to plan
You
further.
need for the future, exactly.
Yes.
So that's why architecture comes into picture, that you have to have a proper architecture and foundation. You build that foundation, that you make sure that whatever comes in the future
Will fit.
will fit, will be fine, will be scalable, will be maintainable, that you can easily maintain that. And this is how you also reduce the risks involved with that. And one of the main thing I saw with architecture is that you have you set the grounds with your team. You have like a full collaboration, and you know the standards you set,
The base.
the base that you set, and what you need to talk about. And so when it comes to communicating it with your team also, it makes it very easy. So it is important for many things, as you said. When it comes to scalability down the road, when it comes to being a reliable solution, maintainable, that you can easily maintain that. When it comes to deployments, for example,
Yes.
when you take it from an environment
The
to another
nightmare.
environment, that is. So you have to make sure that you have a proper architecture.
Okay. So from your experience, what challenges might happen if you don't follow a proper architecture?
Okay, that's one of my friends. He was telling me that one of the customers, he told him like, your architecture is spaghetti.
Yeah.
So it's a very common
Spaghetti. Yeah, spaghetti
terminology
code,
that we use in
architecture.
a spaghetti architecture.
Yeah.
And then he said, no. I told him, no, it's not spaghetti, it's lasagna. Okay, so when it comes to lasagna, it's something more like organized. No, it's better, I would say, in terms of like more organized. Okay, I have got different layers of stuff together, and so it's like, if you really don't follow whatever we talked about earlier, as when it comes to scalability, reliability, maintainability.
Totally against it.
It's against it, of course.
Yeah.
You will not be able to maintain that easily down the road, and things will become monolithic, interrelated, very...
Did you face any such scenario? Yeah, of course, all of us.
I would say yes, of course.
Yeah. Maybe the current project might be...
No, the current
As an
project is quite good.
Okay.
Good, because customer is very professional.
Great.
That's the thing.
So could you tell us any...
Yeah, well, I faced that with some old OutSystem customers who were the early starters or early adopters of low-code technology. They were like a little bit of struggling with these because maybe at that time the lack of knowledge in terms of OutSystem as a platform itself, development and resources availability at that
Makes
time.
sense at many projects at this time.
Yeah, but now things are like mature.
Much better.
Much better.
Okay, so what was the biggest challenge you faced when you worked on this application?
The biggest challenge was, of course, as architect. I started I took my training as a developer, but I didn't do a lot of development. I went directly into architecture part of it. For me as an architect, if you find like things spaghetti, now you need to separate things a little bit. So you need to do something called refactoring. Refactoring of these architecture to make sure you can bring it back to a manageable state. That's the hardest part of it. When you do refactoring, you face a lot of issues when you do refactoring, especially when there is like core services that's having entities and you have data. Now moving the data around is not easy.
Okay. So for teams that are new to OutSystems, what are the key principles they have to follow or understand in order to create or build a maintainable and scalable architecture?
If my advice to the team, and it's team who are starting like on new projects or resources.
New projects, yeah.
Mostly new projects. Architecture is driven by business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Driven by
Business.
business.
Yes. Business.
What does it mean? It starts from the business?
Yeah. It's just like I will give you an example of if you're going
Yes,
to
please.
build a 10-story building, let's say, or a villa. You really need the requirement of the customer first, right? How he needs
Before
it,
starting
how many people will live
yeah.
in that villa,
Ah,
or how many car parkings you need. Do you need a
Mm.
swimming pool or not? All of these questions. So when you're thinking architecture, you have to always like keep asking what, why, how,
what,
these questions,
why,
and how.
how?
Yeah. So the more you ask as an architect questions, the more you get like better
More details.
visibility into what exactly need to be done. When it comes to integrations, for example, maybe there's a requirement with the integration. You need to integrate with another system. The size of the application itself, the criticality of the application, the nature of application in terms of its internal applications or external applications, and all of that. So it is really driven by business. If
Makes
the
sense.
business know really their business.
Does it a real case?
Yeah, in some cases, yeah, it's true, but in some cases,
Most cases?
unfortunately, yeah, the business is not ready. And one of the main reasons for that is even if a business is ready for one application or two applications, you know that using OutSystems, we can quickly develop those applications. And then the customer starts thinking of, okay, what's next? So he's not ready for that.
Yeah.
No, I always tell them that you guys like, this analogy of you bought a Ferrari engine and then you just fixed it on top of a Corolla car. And,
With all respect for the Corolla.
with all respect to the Corolla, okay, you might fit it, it might be there, but other things that will make the car faster,
yes,
which is
it's clear.
gearbox and your wheels and all of that, that has to change as well.
Yeah.
Because when you're fast here, your business analysis should be fast, your quality should be fast. When it comes to quality, your cybersecurity should be fast.
Makes sense. Yes,
Your,
totally agree.
All when it comes to complete, all should be fast.
Okay, so if we will take a use case that the business is ready, we have a document, like TDD or technical document, and it's sent to you. You started to set the architecture. You asked the question, why, how, and what. So what is next?
Great. I have seen software architecting for other software, like traditional way of development and all of that. They really made it complex. Really, you have to go into books and videos and things to learn about how to do architecture. Now, with OutSystems as a low-code, their architecture documentation, I would say, their way of the process, architecture design process itself, they have really simplified it.
Yeah, very simple.
And they really simplified that part, which is a good thing, I would say, positive thing.
Of course, yeah.
It is required for some platforms like this. They have something called like, they've I would say, like divided this into three, and the process itself, the architecture design process, into 3 steps.
3 steps.
Yeah, step number 1. So there's 3 steps. We talk about, first thing is disclosing, and then organize, and then assemble.
Great.
So when I tell the people, if you forgot this 3 steps, just raise your hands and make dua.
Dua.
So DOA, dua.
Dua.
Yeah, okay. Disclose,
yeah,
organize, and assemble.
I
right?
got it, yeah.
Yeah, so that will make it easy for you. In the disclose part, or the step that you have, the first step, is the business will disclose the requirements to you in terms of user stories and whatever is the requirement, the integration requirements, UX, UI requirements, all of that. So once you have the business with you, that's really, as an architect, you need to go and just understand now the business. Once you understand the business, OutSystems says that, okay, once you understand the business, extract the concepts, the business concepts out of the requirements that you have.
Could you give us an example for a business
So,
concept?
Business concept, well, we purely talk business, as we said.
Purely business.
Purely business.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing like technical here. Let's say if we take an example of an e-commerce solution.
Okay, e-commerce.
Yeah. We know that, assuming that we know the e-commerce solution end-to-end
Yes.
processes and all of that. For me as an architect, what I will do, very simply, I'll just go and extract the concept. What's a concept? For me, for example, in an e-commerce application, orders is a concept, customers is a concept, products is a concept, delivery shipping is a concept, for example. Payments is a concept.
So you start extracting the business concept from the requirement.
Yeah, because what you're going to develop will be around this.
Yes, of course.
So when you talk about orders, you will be developing the logic, the screens, the things, everything around orders. When you talk about customers, it's the same thing.
Of course.
It will apply to that. So first thing, it's very simple. It doesn't have to be e-commerce. Any example you give, you just extract the business concept out of it.
Okay, if you will take orders as an example for business concept, do I have to think about database tables and screens for the orders, or I'm just extracting it as a pure business concept?
Pure business concept.
Not technical detail.
We have not reached yet to the point of technical.
Great.
Yes, it's
Only
really
business.
pure business, yes.
Great.
Just extract the business concepts. So this is the first step.
Disclose.
Exactly, the business is disclosed. As an architect, I need to extract the business concepts out of that, the business requirements. And then I move to the second step, which is, again, OutSystem gives you something called architecture canvas. It's like a design tool or a tool that you can use to now take the business concepts and then put it on the canvas
together.
So this canvas is like made of 3 layers. When you talk about lasagna, so it has like a foundation layer, and it have core service layer, and it has the end user layer. So it has
3 levels.
3 levels.
3 layers.
3 layers of just like assume you have like a drawing of 3 layers.
Yes.
Then you need to just take these business concepts,
put each one in a place.
In a place. Now, when it comes to OutSystem, when I put these things together, you start like thinking about, okay, how many applications I will need, how many modules.
You started to think in a technical way.
Now, yeah, exactly. So by the mid of organizing, organizing it, I start thinking like, okay, now technically how we will be doing that. So how we will be splitting that into a number of modules and number of applications and all of that. And then comes the third step, which is related to assembly. So assembly
to
is
organize and assembly.
Yeah, after organizing you will be assembly. Assembly is really like, okay, you split the application maybe into multiple modules and maybe multiple applications as well if they're big in size, application itself. And then you start like putting dependencies, so what is dependent on what and how the flow
customer and orders, they will take a reference.
True. And what OutSystem did in this part is really great, and I always appreciate that. They simplified the whole process a lot. Then they have like architecture principles. There are different architecture principles you need to follow. When it comes to, if you follow those principles, then things will be fine down the road, yes. And those principles apply from You talk about like architecture rules. There are
How many of them?
very hard. There are three rules.
Three
Yeah,
rules.
three rules. So
Okay,
when
the
you're
first
talking
one.
about this canvas that we talked about, the layers,
3 layers.
and I put my business concepts and I do like the assembly and the dependencies between, I draw the dependencies between these applications and things. The rules, these rules should be followed, and they're like very strict rules from OutSystem. So the rules telling you that there shouldn't be like bottom-up reference, means if I have an application or module in the foundation layer,
which is in the bottom.
Exactly, it's
Yes.
the foundation layer itself. It shouldn't reference anything from the above layer.
Yes, clear.
It means that
in the core layer or end user layer.
exactly.
Yes.
That's rule number one.
This is the first rule.
First rule. Second rule is you have again on your end user layer, you shouldn't reference side reference. Shouldn't do any side reference.
Side references.
Side references. So for example, I have an application, an end user application that's A and B, and they shouldn't like have a side reference. Except there is an exception of screens, because screens normally when you do reference them, it's totally fine because
on your route.
yeah,
Okay.
you cannot use a screen as a logic.
Yes,
And also,
but
so
overall,
there's a dependency. It's okay.
but
as a routing
overall, no
only.
side references.
No side reference.
Yeah,
Because
great. This is the second
The
rule.
second one. Third rule is that on any of the foundation layers, in the foundation layer, in the core service layer, you can have side references,
Great.
but you shouldn't have something called as cyclic references.
And what does
So
it mean?
that means give me your hand.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
we are now like give and take.
In a
you know,
cycle.
In a cycle.
Yeah.
So what happens here
I liked it.
is
I like
we
the
are
explanation.
bound together. You took something from me and I took something from
Ah.
you. So I became dependent on you and you became dependent on me.
Cycle.
So whenever you like publish one application, the other will be outdated. And when you publish that one, this one will be outdated. Or if you want to take them, you have to take them together. So
Architecture violation.
the architecture violations. This is where you need to follow these three rules, very important rules. And the second principle is related to naming conventions. So the first principle we talked about was the rules, three rules that you need to have. Second principle that we have is naming convention. Naming convention is very important. So that I was one of my friends, my father's friend actually. He married like 4 wives and he was having a lot of children, you know. And he didn't even remember the names. So naming convention is very important in these situations, you know. So when your application portfolio grows, when it comes to modules and applications and all of that, wives and children, you know, you have to follow like
Name convention.
proper naming convention. When you have proper naming convention, the moment you look at an application name or a module name, you will know
The classification of this application.
You will
Or
know
even any new member in the team is recently joined, you will be able to understand.
They will know. And there's 2 things in the naming convention, so always remember that. One is that the name of the module that or the application that will tell you, okay, this is related to which domain or it serves which purpose, of course. And then when it comes to the naming convention, you know that OutSystem you develop in modules, you don't develop in applications.
Yes, modules.
Modules, that's the smallest unit you can develop in. These modules, OutSystem has like some standards that if you suffix them, you end them with a specific suffix. Like for example, a module called orders, orders underscore CS, orders underscore BL, exactly. So if you go to the naming convention, they already have naming conventions, so how you should name each module, depending on what the module contains. This naming convention is very important, so it will help the developers, the team, and even help you later on when you come and you want to see your application architecture, how it is.
Here we came to the next question.
The next question, okay.
So how do you validate or ensure that the implementation is done correctly for the architecture.
That's the point. So if you follow the proper naming convention and a OutSystem, they provide you some tools. One of the tool is called Discovery
Discovery
tool. Yeah, and this was like an ancient tool, a very robust tool. It's there, I think, from a long time.
We used to use it.
Few years ago, they introduced something called Architecture Dashboard.
AI Mentor.
AI Mentor, which is the new name is called AI Mentor. Yes, they introduced Architecture Dashboard. Now these tools, especially Discovery, is really dependent on the naming convention.
For the classification
For
of
the
application
classification
and
of the
modules,
application, exactly, and it's telling you if there is any violation of the rules or anything, because it really can help you.
Depends on the name convention.
And if you did not follow the proper naming convention,
The first surprise.
It won't be able to help you unless you go and
Change it manually.
and tell the tool, okay, this module is core service, this module is the business logic, and so on.
So you are using these tools to validate the architecture.
To validate the architecture and make sure.
How?
Well, if the moment you install that tool, you can have it on premise. The discovery part. When you're talking about the discovery, you can have it like on premise.
Its UI is not friendly.
Yeah, it's fine.
I have a concern.
It's used by architects, so it's okay. They already have a miserable life, and one of that is the UI of discovery. Okay, no, but they really enhanced the UI in the new tool.
AI Mentor. Yeah,
they really
much better.
It's much better.
Yeah.
Two challenges with the AI Mentor is that it's a SaaS product, so some customers they have like problems with cybersecurity or security. Where you have a SaaS product connecting to your own premise installation.
But it gives you a very detailed.
It's we had these discussions with many customers when it comes to the cybersecurity. It is safe. It is safe, because all it extracts is your metadata of the application, information about the application, and then telling you some.
And it's maintained by OutSystems.
It's maintained by OutSystems as well, and they have like, I would say, part of your contract is that they will not misuse your information, even application names, if there's any.
It should.
Or modules, they should. But if you don't have access to your mentor, then yes, Discovery can help you a lot.
To validate the architecture. So you are validating the application or modules or the relation or dependence between the application, or what exactly you are validating?
Great. As we said earlier, as I said, that in terms of like the smallest unit that you can start developing is a module, right? And by the time you start with modules, you might have another module, another one, and another one. And then you group them into an application. Okay.
Yes.
So it's like a logical unit of groups of modules. And then, if it grows too big, you might end up with domains. Right?
Yeah.
So multiple applications under a specific domain or a line of business or so on. So while you're working on the architecture, you have to start small, on the smallest unit. Make sure the architecture of the smaller unit. When you talk about smaller unit,
the level of modules.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then
module
move to
application domains.
Application domain.
So always you have to make sure that your base is good.
Bottom up.
Bottom up, exactly. Your base is good. So all these rules and principles that we talked about applies to the smallest units, which is the modules. You have to make sure.
The 3 rules you just mentioned.
Yeah, and also the naming convention. This applies to the modules. So if your modules are properly set up, then what you do, the next thing is that you go to the application.
Yes.
Compositioning. Okay, how you compose your applications. Okay, if you have like, let's say 10 modules, how do you split them into or divide them into different applications? That's where the next part comes in, that okay, I have to have like modules that are really related modules. I can put them into a single application, and they have a different or independent, let's say,
life cycle.
life cycles. Yeah. So you have to keep a few things in mind that when you're doing this application compositioning, is that the same 3 rules apply here as well.
Yeah, for modules and for applications.
Exactly, the
Yeah.
same 3 rules. So
Yes.
even if you have multiple applications now, forget about modules, now you have the same
The same
architecture
idea.
canvas. Yes, you need to put your application in
Mm.
it. And you have to make sure that your application doesn't violate these 3 rules as well. Too. When it comes to the first thing, when you say the modules, so we have like foundation layer modules, we have core service, and we have end user layer modules. Yes. How do you classify your application? Is by what is the top module?
Yes, the top one.
Okay, so let's say if I have an application that has a core service module and an end user module, this application becomes an end user
yes.
application. So
Yeah.
whatever is on the top.
Yes,
I
right.
might have another application which has like a foundation module and a core service module, then it becomes a core service application.
Yes. So
So-
validating these step by step from
Yes.
bottom to up.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And if you have large implementation, big application portfolio,
One step
you
up.
one step up when you go to domains. Domains, yes. So
Mm.
domains is like, okay, couple of applications under a specific domain or a line of business, I would say. You have a line of business, let's say you have finance, or you have HR,
HR,
you have,
yes.
let's say, supply chain.
Mm.
So these are like different line of businesses that you have, and
Okay.
you have, each one can have multiple applications, and each application can have multiple modules.
Okay, let's say you already set the architecture, you validated it, it's correct. How you monitor the developers to ensure that they will keep following the architecture without any violation?
The toughest part, I would say. When it
You'll keep
comes,
hunting them.
Keep hunting them, especially if you have a large team.
Yes.
If you have a very large team, it's not easy to maintain them
And
or
monitor them.
contain them as well, and monitor them. What you need to do, of course, and again, thanks to OutSystems, I would say, because I think they thought of all of these issues when they came up with
the
developing
solution for a current issue.
Exactly, for all the issues that they have, and they came up with the platform, so they kept everything in mind. For me, from my experience, first thing you need to do is that the moment you finish from the architecture, you have to have a gathering with your team, and you explain everything to the whole team. In major projects, you have like a center of excellence, where you have the architect and the leads, team leads, tech leads.
To explain the architecture
Exactly,
so they
to-
understand it.
To explain the architecture to them and what they need to follow. What are the naming conventions they need to follow, for example, and which architecture to follow itself. Now, then they can go and talk to their team members, the
Hierarchy.
developers. Yes. For me,
So let's say first step is to explain the architecture for the developers.
Yeah.
Okay. What's
Yeah.
next?
next is control.
Control.
You need to control them, yes, to just make sure that.
Okay, we know that we have to control them,
think
but
exactly
how?
you need
to control them?
Exactly. So, for example, when it comes to new application, mostly architecture is
For
two
the new
things. For the
application.
new application plus the existing application when they take reference from each other. That's where you have to be very careful. For new applications, when it comes to new applications, so when it's controlled, I don't allow a developer to create an application or a module. Yeah, it's created by a tech lead or team lead, I would say, depending on the size of the, and he's the one.
Starting from creating the application or the
Yes.
module itself.
Yeah,
cool.
he's the one who does it,
Ah,
and he creates the modules, he publishes, he prepares it
خلاص.
for the developer, and then he grants access to the developer. He creates teams using Lifetime, so you can grant that specific application access to that developer to start
Work
doing what he is to do.
to start the violation.
Start the violations, exactly. And while he starts the violations, you need to make sure now during that period, especially if you're following like agile methodology, you'll be definitely working in sprints. So during that
Most
period of the
software
time, exactly houses they do
using
that. You have to make sure that keep monitoring them using the tools that we talked about, AI Mentor, Discovery.
It has these features.
AI Mentor, thanks to AI Mentor, I would say. Discovery is only focusing on the architecture, and especially the 3 rules that we talked about. But AI Mentor is beyond that.
More features.
So it can capture the technical depth. When you talk about performance, when you talk about security, maintainability, architecture violations, all of that
Everything is documented.
Everything is captured.
With the name of the developer.
And the date and time and everything, exactly. Nobody can hide from it. So
you keep monitoring them through AI Mentor on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or
depending on the size of the application and the team. If it's fresh application and you just started developing it, then you have to do it like frequently, so you can quickly give feedback,
identify and fix the issues.
You identify them upfront early, so you can give feedback to the development team, and they need to fix these specific issues. And of course, it will be with you down the road as long as you're developing, as long as you're violating.
Yeah, of course. So you're monitoring them step by step.
Yeah. Of course, the team leads, they play like, I would say, a great role here, that they need to monitor that and monitor as well.
Can we say that the AI Mentor could replace the code review, as let's say the feature is released and there is no technical depth appear in AI Mentors? Does it mean that no need for code review, خلاص? There is no issues, or do we still require to do a code review?
I think it's helping the tech leads a lot, the team leads a lot. Most of the team leads, from what I've seen, is they're relying on AI Mentor. So they really take help from the AI Mentor, and then they
replace the code review with AI Mentor.
With the AI Mentor, exactly. But I would not say that still the tech leads and the team leads should go and because there's few things, maybe a few patterns that's not covered by the AI Mentor. I know that it's covering most of the patterns when it comes to development, but still, as a team lead, they have to have a look at it.
Maybe you can find a better approach for example, the logic to share with the team.
True.
So can you give us a high-level view of what makes OutSystems architecture unique compared with the traditional development architecture?
But there is, I heard this question many times, and people ask me about this question. The comparison, exactly. It's not much different. It's not much different than traditional. However, OutSystems is like, if you talk about other technologies, is an entire architecture.
Entire
you have
architecture.
like different layers of like a presentation layer. You have data access layer and service layer. It's not much different, because at the end of the day, it's .NET. What you get is a .NET application, right? So assume you have a custom .NET application, how you will be putting it into different.
So it looks like entire architecture.
Entire architecture.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. It's not much different. The thing is, because the platform itself is managing most of the thing for you, and especially in the way how you architectured your modules and applications. The rest of the thing is taken care by the platform itself.
Cool. Okay, so as you are talking about the architecture, how does OutSystems handle microservices?
Okay, microservices.
Very generic question, but
when you talk about microservices, I would say OutSystems. OutSystems has got.
Does it support it?
2 versions, and which one? In
OutSystem 11.
OutSystem
The
11,
current
or you're talking
version.
about ODC?
OutSystem 11.
Yeah, OutSystem 11. No, I'd say it's like semi-microservice.
For sure.
Exactly.
How?
And the moment we talk about
What does it mean, microservices?
microservices, is like you have independent. You just break the monolithic solution into smaller services pieces.
Yeah.
Where each piece runs independently.
Totally isolated.
Serves independently, totally isolated.
Yeah.
It serves independently, and if something happened to another service, it's not impacted. All of this is what the meaning of microservice. So it is a service totally independent of other services. When it comes to any layer of dependency, that it's like infrastructure, network, or
Even infrastructure.
database, and all of that. Yes, yeah.
So does OutSystem support it in OutSystem 11?
OutSystem 11, no. I would say no. It's semi.
Very direct. No.
Yeah, because you have like few limitations when it comes to microservices.
How?
Breaking the things into smaller pieces. In our system, I think the smallest piece that you can break something is like a module now, and this module might need other modules to work with, and you
Of
have
course,
to tightly
that
couple and all of
depends.
that. And plus, you cannot have like the full stack independent from when it comes to infrastructure, databases, for example.
But some people said, okay, we can isolate the modules or the applications and then expose some APIs to take a reference from application A to application B. So they are actually isolated.
True. And the moment you have like an isolated service that is totally independent, running totally independent from another service, and independent in all areas, all layers that
All
we talked
other
about,
factors.
all other factors,
Mm.
yes, then yeah, you can call that that's a microservice itself by itself. It's but without System 11, with ODC, yes, I would say it's
ODC, the cloud.
Yes, it's the cloud native platform from OutSystem. Yes, it does support like microservices. You can have everything independent.
Okay, so from your experience also, what are the common mistakes developers do that violate the architecture guidelines?
The common mistakes that they do is a very common one.
Yeah, the most common
The
one.
most common one
Yeah.
is that when they start like, copying some elements from one module to another module. They just want like, okay, a developer did something, so they just want to take it and put it in their own module and just change. So it's faster. What's happening, while
Grabbing
you copy things,
all dependency and
it grabs all the dependencies, and it makes
without
like
even
really,
that.
you will not notice that.
Yeah.
And the developer doesn't notice that.
Yes.
That, okay, I just copied. He thinks that I just copied the elements. It's not just copying that elements. He really made a tight reference between the two modules.
Yes, I copied a drop down. It came with the database table, which
Exactly.
fetches from it.
Exactly. So that's
the
one
most
of
common one.
The most common one that they do it. And the second one is that they, even without copying, they go to the dependencies future, and they take references from other
A wrong
modules.
reference.
Yes.
Without checking the architecture.
Without checking the architecture, they don't know. I'm taking in a reference, from this module. This module is where?
Up or down, side.
Where is it exactly
Yeah.
in the canvas itself? So it might be up, and he's here. Tries to take something from up. So that's really
There is no
violated
warning.
upper-
The OutSystem will not give
No,
you any warnings. So you
our
have
system
to
will
be.
not limit you.
Yeah, you
I
have
will
to
tell
care
you
about
that
it.
exactly.
But you, as an OutSystem architect, you will be monitoring from AI Mentor. Oh, I got you.
Exactly.
Come here.
That's when I go to the big picture and discovery, it tells you straightforward, and it has like these 3 violations. You have up reference or side
So they have
reference.
to understand the full image of the architecture and keep it in their mind. So when they try to get a reference, you have to know where are you
Yeah.
and where are the reference.
Yeah, if you don't know, it's always good to ask
Yes, of
your
course.
team lead,
Mm.
if not the architect itself, so himself or herself. You need to ask them that I'm going to take this reference because this is something that I can reuse in my code, in my modules. So I will take it, and then he will give you the green light. It's because that's where the architect will start thinking if this is a reusable component.
Let's adjust the
One of the
architecture.
let's adjust the
Yeah,
architecture
if
exactly.
we really need to take a reference
True,
from it.
true. So they might like do a refactoring, split that module into another 2 modules, and then both can take the reference from this new module that I would say.
Okay, so moving to deployment. There is a very famous concept, or it's a concept, deployment zone in OutSystem.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Deployment zones. Good. Now we shifted from application architecture to, I would say, infrastructure architecture a little bit.
Yes,
Okay.
infrastructure.
and
Yeah.
application as well, but mostly infrastructure architecture. Deployment zones is like it's like logical grouping of your servers. So if you have in your solution, let's say 10 servers,
Okay.
and your solution is built for internal and external
Users.
users.
Okay.
Okay, so you can split this 10 servers into 2 deployment zones, let's say. You have external zone and you have internal zone. And then you can split the number of servers, 5, 4, 4,
Yes,
6.
as much
2,
as you
8.
need.
Yeah, depending on the needs.
Mm.
This will help you to isolate the applications of external users from the internal users.
Okay,
So you
so I have 5 servers in the internal and 5 servers for external,
Yeah.
which is 2 different deployment zones. So what does it mean to deploy an application X in this zone and application Y in the other zone?
Yeah.
2, 3 different infrastructure servers,
Yeah.
as you mentioned. Okay, so did they have reference from each other, or they are totally isolated?
They can have reference from each other.
They could have.
Yeah, they can take reference from each
Okay,
other.
so why I'm splitting them into 2 different zones?
Good. Now, the 2 different zones, maybe the security requirements, especially if it's like external users, you will have like
to restrict
different-
them into
Yes.
internal.
Exactly. And the first thing is that you develop an application that's very special for this external users or specific to external users. They will be only used by external users. So you totally splitted that from the internal zone. It's totally running on independent servers. It's running in the DMZ zone, I would say, where it's the security is high. The way you access that to reach that servers is different than how you reach to the internal
The other
zone
zone.
applications. And maybe their requirements in terms of performance might be different depending on maybe the load is high. So you have like
The traffic is
high-end
different.
servers
Yeah.
on this side and then low-end servers for the internal and so on.
Okay, so if we can have one use case also, I have an internal and external application in the dev, which is only one zone. At Unity, most likely will be only one zone. And then I install the Forge component. Let's say it's PDF previewer. I'm using this Forge component into both applications. So after deploying the both applications into different deployment zone, what about the Forge component? It will be combined into a copy into each deployment zone, or it will be in a generic zone and both applications have a reference.
Yeah.
from it.
There's something called global zone, which is the default zone for
Mm.
any installation of OutSystem. If you do like
Global zone.
yeah,
Mm.
when you install it for the first time, it comes with the default zone, which they call it the global zone. You can have this application on the global zone.
Mm.
Shared components, I would say, you can
Shared,
put it on the global zone itself, or even if they're like in their own zones, you can still reference between the zones. OutSystem gives you that
Even if?
flexibility.
To
that
reference
gives you
from
you can
both.
do reference between the different zones, and that's taken care by the platform itself.
Okay, so moving to the database and integration part. What are the best practices for the API and database integration if you will integrate with external database or external endpoints? From architecture perspective.
Yeah, good. Nowadays, especially nowadays, almost in every solution that you develop, you will definitely need one or two or three integrations.
Yeah.
The least you integrate with the email server, maybe an SMS gateway, or that's the least.
At least.
every solution has that. Integration, as I said in the beginning, the moment you start gathering your requirement from the beginning, business requirements, so you will identify the integration points at that time. I need to integrate with
disclose part.
The disclose part, exactly. So when it comes with the business requirements, also the integration requirements comes in, and from that time you should start thinking of how to integrate with that system. OutSystem has a slogan that says integrate with everything.
And is it true?
So far, yes.
So far.
Yes.
Good answer. I liked it.
So far, yeah.
So you didn't face any challenge or limitation?
Not at all. Not at all. When it comes to integrating directly with databases,
Smooth.
It's very smooth. If you're using or REST APIs or SOAP APIs,
doesn't matter.
Even exposing APIs, it's limitless. So it's very easy in terms of integrations. Even if you have like custom code, .NET code or
extension,
extensions, you can just
integrate with it
and use it and
you have to think about it while setting the architecture.
Yeah. Now that's the main thing. Where exactly should it end up in our canvas? So when we're talking about a 3-layer canvas, we're talking about lasagna. Which layer of lasagna it should be? So it's in the bottom layer, which is the foundation.
Foundation layer for the integration.
Yeah. Why we put it in the foundation layer is that if you talk about SMS gateway, for example, or we talk about email or any other integration, this integration might be used by other applications that's on the top layer.
Yes, of course.
And the end user layer. So maybe today only one application needs it. Tomorrow maybe another application will also need it. So they can use the same integration. I don't have to have separate integrations for each. Yeah. And that's why all the integration goes into the foundation layer.
Even if it's external database.
Even if it's external database.
Cool.
For me, that's also an integration. Maybe some people say no, it's external database. It's entities. It should be part of like.
It's not some people.
service.
It's me.
It's you. Right? Always you say that. As that.
It makes sense as OutSystem has 2 rules.
Yeah.
The foundation for the integration, other integrations, and also it is for non-functional requirement. But when it came to database tables, if I'll consume or read from core database tables for employee, for orders, transactions, it is a functional requirement. So it should be placed inside the core layer or it's a foundation layer. What do you think?
It really doesn't make difference for it. So as long as you have it either in both places, it's okay. You can have it. And for me, just like a rule of thumb, it's an integration with another system.
It's a functional requirement.
It's a functional requirement. I don't care what I care about. It's an integration. So I put it in the foundation layer. And of course, whatever you want to build on top of it when it comes to like business logic and all of that, you can do it.
Yes, of course.
From your core service layer. As long as it's external integration, has nothing to do with OutSystem platform. It's not like local entities.
To put in the core.
Yeah. To put it in the core? No. It's
foundation,
It's a foundation.
Even if you will build a sync mechanism or
that's
cache.
something you can build on top of it. In the core service layer, you can have that. You can.
Cool. Adding a cache mechanism not to cache from.
True. Most of the customers, they have enterprise resource planning solutions like ERP solutions. They integrate with the ERP solutions, and they
Holds all the data.
it holds all the data. Integrate with their master data, for example. When it comes to, let's say, their suppliers, their customers, or their employees, all of that master data is managed there. So I cannot have that data with me in our system. I should not have it.
Of course,
as a
replica of
exactly.
DB.
So I will have like silos of data everywhere. Or I have one source of truth, which is whatever system it is, and I take that data, cache it with me, and then I use the local cache
As a cold cache.
as a cold cache. If the data is not changing frequently, if it's changing frequently, then you have to have like hot cache.
Okay, so speaking about cache, can we have a high-level differentiation between the hot and cold cache?
Caching, from the name itself, you can say, caching is mainly used for performance, I would say.
Performance.
Performance, yes,
Of course,
to improve
yeah.
the performance when you use caching. So when I told you just a while ago that we need to cache this data, whether it's from the ERP system or from another system, in OutSystem and the applications that we develop will be using this data. So if I call the data directly every time through an API, the performance will be impacted
Yes,
big time.
much slower.
It will be much slower. So
Each search,
it has to go
list
through
screen,
the whole integration layer, contact the system. System will give
this
you the
is
response and all that.
hot cache?
No,
Not hot cache.
this is not hot
This is
cache.
direct
Yes,
hitting.
This is direct
through an API.
Exactly, it's
Okay.
direct hitting of the.
There is no cache at this stage.
There's no caching at this
Yeah.
stage. I'm just calling what I need, requesting what I
Directly.
need directly
Yeah.
from the other system. Now, just to improve this part, we need to cache now. So the caching will be like two types of caching. We have cold cache and then we have hot cache, or warm cache as well. Cold cache
In between.
somewhere, depending on the needs really.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need real-time data,
Mm.
really real-time data. Okay, that sometimes some of the data, for example, especially if it's master data like lookups and all of that. That's
Countries, Emirates.
Exactly. Citizens, countries, languages, cities, all of that doesn't change frequently.
Yeah.
So you can have like a cold cache of that. You sync
Cold cache.
every week or every day, let's say midnight. It's
Scheduled.
Exactly, scheduled
To sync.
through an OutSystem timer.
So I'll create, let's say, the same database table inside OutSystem, read from this table, and after maybe in a schedule timer, day, monthly, weekly, I'm sync to update the data if it's changed from the data source.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is the cold cache,
True.
the hot cache.
The hot cache or the warm cache is something that the data that you need almost real time data. It's okay. There's a process that requires really up-to-date information to complete the process or complete the workflow or whatever it is. You need real-time data. So that's like a hot cache. So when you're caching data, you have to say, okay, this is like, can be like in a cold cache. It doesn't require frequent syncing. And this one requires really frequent syncing, which is I
It has
need
to
to
be.
have it up to date. Yes. So that's your warm cache.
Warm or
Yes.
hot cache.
Hot cache, yes.
Okay, so with the rise of ODC or OutSystem Cloud, what significant change in the architecture we have to consider when we start working with the ODC?
Okay. ODC, as you know, it's new.
Yeah,
It's
it
new
is.
in the market, especially to this market. It has been there for a while.
They announced it is available in UAE, I believe, 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's available.
Okay. And soon it will be available here, inshallah, also in the kingdom, I'd say.
Hopefully.
Soon.
I know that we still don't have experience as we didn't develop something
Exactly. That's the point now.
ODC. But as a high level, how the architecture works in ODC compared with OutSystem 11?
Traditional, I'd say.
Traditional.
old
It
OutSystems.
become traditional now.
You will have like
Even OutSystem has traditional
OutSystem 11
version.
will be called an
Mm.
OutSystem traditional. It is
Legacy.
like traditional applications, and then you got reactive. Yeah, OutSystem 11. The architecture changes mainly, as you know, Odyssey is fully cloud native.
Yeah.
It is cloud native platform where you can develop applications. There's no concept of modules there. Nothing called modules.
Which is very strange.
Everything is
Very
application
strange.
only. Yeah, so I think with Odyssey you don't have to worry about the architecture part of it, because everything is an application, and the moment you package the application and
In a
it runs on a
container or
container,
something,
exactly,
yeah.
and that's it. It runs totally independent as a microservice. And if you have application dependent on another application, when you're doing the packaging part of it, it like package both of them, because you might have a core service application with a
Yes, of course.
I
So
would say
package
end
them
user
as,
application, yes.
take it as a copy with it.
Yes,
So each
Yeah.
application take the reference as a copy.
as a copy, as a the whole application. It will take the whole application
As a copy,
and,
yeah.
and modules, yes. Module you used to take like specific elements.
This is
out
why
of
you
the-
said OutSystem support microservices in Odyssey.
And Odyssey,
Mm.
exactly. That's where because it's cloud native, and that's in cloud everything is almost like a microservice. You can really have it independent from other services.
Would you be interested to shift to Odyssey soon if you have the opportunity?
Of course, technology is evolving. I mean, from our experience, we've
Upgrading,
seen
yeah.
things. One of the main reason I came to OutSystem, or maybe I left Oracle, was Oracle as a database. At certain point, it became like autonomous database. They used to call it. خلاص, it's autonomous. It's self-managed. You don't need an administrator to manage. Administer the database. So the technology is evolving. Especially now, it's evolving at a very high speed.
So you will be interested to move to
Yeah.
Odyssey.
You need to change. If you don't change, as they say, you're not a tree.
Yeah.
You should change.
Yeah.
And if you don't adopt the new technologies, you won't be like be up to date with the market trends that's out there, and maybe at a certain point you will be outdated.
Yeah, they announced that there are too many AI integration with the Odyssey today, and in the OutSystem Summit in Saudi Arabia, they announced OutSystem Mentor,
Oh, okay.
which is integrated with Gen AI, I believe. I still don't have more information about it. They will release it officially, they said, this week.
Oh,
In
okay.
January 2025. They give us a demo that you can talk to the AI mentor, the mentor, OutSystem mentor, just like ChatGPT.
Okay.
Generate me an application for e-commerce. I have orders, I have customers, and products inventory. Run. You will find the database tables, screen, everything generated in a minute.
Yeah.
And then they said you could customize and you can add more, and ask them, okay, I need one more screen, I need one more business concept, let's add one more database.
Yeah.
I still don't have much information. I'm waiting. I scheduled a demo to experience it,
Okay.
but I'm excited. I'm excited to check it. Yeah.
Just check it.
Okay, as our time is about to end, let me ask you, what is your golden advice for the developers who want to become a solution architect?
Okay, who want to learn how to prepare lasagna?
Yeah, of course. Shifts.
The chefs for that, fine. For developers, and when I said in the first point is that developers have to go back to their team leads and architect whenever they do something. The moment the developer, like when you ask him to create these modules, and in this manner, and these naming conventions, he should start thinking
Why I'm doing this.
Why I'm doing this, or what is this?
I'm not just following the architecture.
Exactly.
I start to understand what is set and why it
True.
is set.
He should start asking himself those questions
Ah,
and get involved into. Again, the architecture is, as we said, it's all about
not a fixed.
what, why, and how.
Mm.
So if this question doesn't click in his mind, he will just keep following the architect and the team lead. He never become a team lead and never become an architect. Okay.
Only copy.
Exactly. We're only copying.
Yeah.
So he should start asking himself why, thinking about this, and
Understanding the architecture.
try to learn about it, try to find out about it, study about it, read about it.
Maybe to get involved while setting the architecture as well.
Yes, if you didn't get an answer, maybe by reading or going through the trainings, OutSystem trainings, you can ask the architect or the team lead why.
Why you did that.
And in my previous companies, especially in the current company, I have few developers, mashallah, and they challenge me.
Oh, I like it.
That's where it's really, architecture is not the work of architect only.
Yes, it's
be
inputs
like,
from every and
input
each
from
one.
everyone, exactly.
Yeah.
It's, as we said, it starts with business. And, that's what drives the architecture itself, and then it comes down the road to the development. When the developers, they start like
Implementing the
architecture, and they give you the feedback. Okay,
they might come up with
something that you need to change. Maybe you never thought about it. So architecture is, it always like, it's not like one size that fits all.
Yes, exactly.
You have to keep iterating the process.
Adjusting.
Exactly. You have to keep doing that to make sure that you're always maintaining it properly. You're doing the right architecture.
So they have to understand what is already set.
Yes.
To get involved in the setting the architecture, start asking the question, and what's next?
Yeah, once they do that, then they get, they start maybe driving or walking on the right path, I would say, toward becoming a architecture specialist. Our system has like a exam for certification for that.
It's not an easy, by the way.
Really?
It's not an easy one.
Well, none of the OutSystems certifications is easy. None of them, unless you have experience. And I started, my first certification was a Reactive Web Associate exam, and really, it wasn't something that was easy.
Oh, it was not easy?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, unless you have like practical experience.
But I disagree with you about this. But I'm agree partially. As yes, for reactive and mobile, if you don't have experience, it might be challenging for you. But with architect, even if you have experience, it won't be easy for you. I remember I was facing questions. I got it, I have it, alhamdulillah. But I have two answers. Both are right.
But
so what I have to do? Of course, there is one of them is much right. I don't know. Yeah,
which one?
Best practices, but both are right. Yeah. So,
that's the questions are very tricky.
Yeah.
So you have, unless you have a practical experience, you've really implemented it yourself, and you have really gone through that question or that case, I would say.
But the documentation for the architecture was very useful.
Yeah.
The documentation that you have to study before the exam, it was very useful.
That's the other thing, that when you want to prepare for the exam, they have the exam sheet or the exam guide, I would say.
Links to
they have a very proper step-by-step what you need to do.
Very clear, which is what I love in OutSystems.
Exactly. And they're very summarized.
Yeah.
Up exact to the point.
And the questions exactly came from this area.
True.
X, Y, Z, so they...
True. They have sample exams as well. I mean, sample questions. Part of that exam guide, you will have some sample questions, which will give you an idea of how hard the questions can be,
Let me ask you a question about this area. Some people has concerns about the pricing of OutSystems certificates. They said, why we have to pay for a certificate?
Okay.
Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I think from my experience with the
Yeah.
trainings and OutSystem, every now and then they provide like free vouchers for certificates, and people who take training, they have like developer
Free
schools.
vouchers.
Exactly.
Mm.
They have developer schools. If you attend the classes in this, you get like free vouchers. I think it's when you pay for that, you will try hard a little bit to to not miss it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Of course.
If it's free, you will not give it that that much time.
Agree.
It's just like any other certification, and most of the software companies,
Yeah,
if
it's
you look
paid.
at it, it's
Yeah,
paid.
agree.
And I think mostly goes to the exam center.
Okay, so going back to the main question, so خلاص, I understood the architecture, I got involved, I studied the material, I got certified with architecture. So now I become an architect? Yeah, theoretically, or you have at least the experience to start setting the architecture?
No, as you said, the exam is not easy to pass unless you have practical experience. So before you go even for the exam, try to practice it. Practice it. As I said in the beginning, challenge yourself, challenge your architect, ask him questions, try to find out more about it, try to get into that, atmosphere of being an architect and how you have to work as an architect, why we do this, how we do this. So once you have this, even a little knowledge of that, and then with the help of the documentation and the online guided learning path that they have is very nice. So if you follow, I think it's maybe 15 plus hours of, I think so, if I remember properly. So it's nothing. You can give it like within a week. You can go through all the videos, and they're really nice videos, very short,
agree.
to the point.
Agree.
Yeah, it will help you into this.
So as we reach to the end, any generic advice you could share with any developers in the software market?
When I took the training back in Dubai, after coming back, I trained. So I took the role of trainer approach.
To train
other trainers and then other
developers.
trainers. It's always good to spread knowledge. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you. You have to make pay zakah for that.
Yes,
shouldn't be
of course.
in terms of money or.
That's also
in terms
for
of
the
gold,
information, the ilm you have.
The ilm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, yes, pass it to others. And really, from my 25 plus years of experience, I would say I always learned when I was teaching or transferring the knowledge. Some people, they keep the knowledge to themselves. No, khalas.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's only with me, so I don't want to give it to others. Maybe they're afraid of many things around competition. Maybe they will take over my job or all of that. No.
Yes.
The moment you transfer the knowledge to your subordinates or others,
the moment you
especially if you're in the company, you get feedback. Really, the feedback that you need. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you did a mistake somewhere, or maybe. And once they reach to your level, that's where it starts pushing you. Pushing you to go up.
Good point of view.
Yeah, you are now.
You
are in the same level, so it will push you up. You have to start go. You have to study more, to learn more, to just get up in the stairs. So it's always good. It's great, and I would. I have a WhatsApp group where I used to train people. Now I don't have time.
OutSystem training.
Yeah,
I joined this group.
Okay.
I joined it.
It was totally for free, and it is still there.
Can we share the link with this WhatsApp group inside the description?
Sure. If anyone's interested, maybe we can arrange another session for them.
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. We still share information. We still share
Mhm.
our experiences with each other there as well.
Cool. As a
Yeah,
community for
as a
OutSystem
community,
developer,
exactly.
it is a good.
Comparing to 2018, today I see OutSystem community has grown, mashallah, too big.
Yeah,
It's
huge.
and very professional people,
Mm.
very experienced people, and hope so. We'll continue this
Inshallah.
as long as we live.
Inshallah. So
Yeah.
let me thank you again for attending today and allocate some of your valuable time for us. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Abdurrahman.
Habibi.
Thanks for this opportunity, and see you
Hopefully
inshallah
to repeat it
another-
again.
inshallah.
حبيبي.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
سو كده اتمنى التوبيك بتاع النهارده يكون اوضح شويه اللي هو اوت سيستم اركتكت. لو حد عنده اي اسئله او استفسار ممكن تبعت لي تكتب كومنت وان شاء الله هنعمل فيديوز اكتر نشرح فيها حاجات اكتر عن اوت سيستم.